Hey guys, blast from the past here, Scotty Pockets. Welcome to the weekly update. Miss you guys.
Hi, I'm Carl from Seachem Laboratories. I'm here at Fishy Business doing a nice visit with them. They carry a wide variety of our product. We'll take you over here. They even carry the new Sencha Dose. So come on into Fishy Business, check them out with a wide variety of Seachem products.
So when last we met, there was a little more daylight in this room and we had just busted through the wall. Now you can actually see this acrylic system, which is now going to become a new saltwater room. We're moving some things around and we're setting up more fish tanks, so we will actually have more saltwater fish than we've had before. We'll also have more tanks for koi and goldfish. The whole room that you know of as being a room that has just a few goldfish will now expand into even more. So, more fish tanks for you, more work for us, probably more problems for us and everything else, but we'll talk about that in the next weekly update. Let's get on to the fish.
Hi, it's Kevin. I'm the freshwater manager here at Fishy Business, and we got a lot of neat stuff in this week. I'm here to show you some of the best picks, what I think is the best looking out of the best of what we have this week. One of my favorite dwarf cichlids is the crebensis. They are a semi-aggressive cichlid, much more aggressive than the rams. Good tank mates with tiger barbs and the such. They don't usually get over 4 inches at the very biggest. The females are more colorful than the males. I know I probably covered them a couple weeks ago, but these look so incredibly good, I wanted to touch base on them again. Very common fish in the trade, although probably doesn't really need to be, is the Bala shark. The reason why is not because they're aggressive or anything, but because they get so large. Often these fish are unfortunately kept in too small of a tank. You really need at least a 55, preferably a 75 with more width for best results with this fish. Does really well in a large community tank. Just make sure you've got a tank large enough to accommodate the size they grow. We got in some nice looking snakeskin gouramis. These guys came in pretty large. These guys are about 4 inches long already. They do get pretty big. I've seen some get in excess of 6 inches before. Really cool gourami to have. Looks very similar to a pearl gourami, but not quite as colorful. We got in a good selection of mystery snails, and we got a good selection of colors this week. They're called a mystery snail because their babies are born so large that it's often a mystery as to how they occurred and came to be in your aquarium. We also have in some Japanese trapdoor snails. These would be the best snails for your garden pond outside because these guys can actually go down to 0 degrees on the temperature. They're fine in cold temperatures with no problem. They can be a little invasive once going forward because they do give live birth. We got in some nice looking Haplochromis obliquidans. These are a Lake Victoria cichlid. Lake Victoria and Lake Malawi have very similar water parameters. They usually mix very well with most other African cichlids with no problem. We get in some baby fire eels. These guys are in the same tank together now, but as they grow larger, they'll be kind of territorial towards each other, so we really recommend that you only do one per tank. They do get quite large, so make sure you've got a tank big enough to accommodate their size, because these guys can possibly get over 3 feet long. We got in some good sized silver arowanas. These guys are about a good 3 to 4 inches easy. They came in good size. They don't have egg sacs like the little tiny ones we had a couple weeks ago, thank goodness. These guys will need a very large tank, and in the wild they actually do eat birds. We got in some South American puffers. These guys are kind of small now. They don't get very large. They usually top out at about 4 inches or so. This is a total freshwater puffer, not a brackish water puffer at all. but do use caution choosing tank mates because sometimes they may actually bite a chunk of flesh out of another fish if you're not careful. We got a good selection of some nice pearl scales that came in. These are actually pearl scale orandas. They've got a nice bit of head growth already to them. And some of them are pretty metallic, which is kind of unusual for pearl scales. I really like the pearl scales because they're nice and cute and round, but beautiful nonetheless. Like me. We got in some nice Paleotis cory cats. Paleotis cory cats generally tend to be a little bit more durable than most other cory cats because they're not nearly as temperature sensitive. They actually do fare pretty well even without an aquarium heater in the tank. One of the few fish in the store that does. We got in some really pretty Fricata rainbows. This is a dwarf variety. They're also called a fork-tail rainbow or blue-eyed rainbow, but then again there's a few other varieties that are called both of those common names as well. But the Fricatas, I really like them because of the blue eyes. They're beautiful fish.
Guys, I did a thing. So I've taken over doing the plant order. And one of the main companies that we order plants from is, they actually do a couple other things as well. One of which is shrimp, and they have some really awesome shrimp. So I kind of took it upon myself to set up a little shrimp tank, a standalone, so that we can bring in some Caradinas, crystals or King Kongs. I want to say they had some Blue Dreams available, so there's going to be a lot of really cool shrimp coming up soon. I kind of overkilled it with the AI Prime, but we already had it open, so don't be mad about it. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled. We'll have some cool shrimp in soon.
Hi everyone, welcome to the saltwater portion of this week's weekly update. I have some really pretty discus behind me. They're very pretty and cute, painted by the one and only Kat. She's done a great job in here. She added some stuff, so next time you're in, make sure you ask us to look at the discus wall. But again, before I show you the fish I have in stock right now, I'm going to point out the 5 more exotic, more expensive fish that we can get in for you. Again, if you're interested in that, make sure you call the store. But I'm going to talk about those first, and then I'm going to show you some of the super exciting things that I got in. Some things I haven't been able to order for months, just because of the season and the weather, but I'm finally able to get those back in stock for you guys. So, let's go. Hey guys, so I have 5 more fish that I'm gonna point out to you this week that are, again, a little bit more high-end, a little bit more expensive. So this week, we are going to start with a puffy boy. They have a golden dogface puffer. Now these are not very common. They are completely yellow and golden in color. This one is already 8 inches. So it is already a big boy. Typically dog faces only get about 12 inches. So this one's almost full grown, and it's a super beautiful version of a dog face. Just as hardy, same temperament and everything, just a very beautiful yellow color. Next on the list is going to be a super adorable pygmy zebra octopus. So a lot of times there are certain octopuses that become available, octopi, I don't know, that become available, and then for the first time I've seen these pygmy zebras. They're super small. When they're hatched, they're only the size of a grain of rice, and full grown they only get about the size of a table grape. So it's a little grape size pygmy zebra octopus. They are so cute. And Chuck told me today that the pygmy octopus, regardless of what kind, the pygmies do a lot better acclimating to a tank than some of your regular larger octopus. Next on the list, fish number 3, is going to be a banana tusk. So tusk fish are super beautiful. Typically they're deemed not reef safe or reef safe with caution because they do like to eat your inverts, crabs, snails, shrimp, things like that. But they're a great fish for a fowler tank, and this banana tusk is not a super common tusk. You don't see it around all that often. You can look at the picture and see that it's got bright yellow, it's got that fuchsia pink and black spot on its back. It also has some white mixed in with the scales. Super beautiful tusk, one that you don't see all that often. And they definitely are more of a semi-aggressive fish. So like I said, Fowler tanks for these guys, and they can get along with almost anything. Next, fish number 4 is going to be a surf parrotfish. Parrotfish in general are not reef safe. They like to eat rocks, and in turn they digest it and it comes back out as sand. So a lot of the sand in the ocean actually comes from all these parrotfish. Parrotfish definitely need to be in a Fowler tank. A lot of them will eat coral, but not necessarily on purpose. They're going to try to eat and break off pieces of the rock, which might have some coral on it. So definitely Fowler tanks, fish-only tanks for the surf parrotfish, but they are gorgeous. They have pinks and blues and greens and yellows and purples and oranges, and you can look at the picture and just see how gorgeous it is. And this one is an extra large. It is a big surf parrot. Definitely going to be the showstopper in your tank. And last but not least is a beautiful pink cave basslet. So basslets are a great fish, and a lot of them don't get super big either. As a basslet, even though they don't get big, they do still eat your inverts. Some people still like to have them in their reef tank, and they don't care that a couple of their cleanup crew members go missing. In the pink cave basslet, you don't see a lot of fish, whether it be fresh or saltwater, that have this really light cotton candy pink color, but it's also very vibrant at the same time. You don't see it very often, and the pink cave basslet only comes around every so often. So that's another one that we're going to be offering for you guys this week. Again, if there's anything that you want me to check on that's not on this list, please call the store and let us know, and I'll be glad to check and see whether they have it now or maybe they'll get it in the future. But that being said, let's go look at the fish that I have in for you now.
So this is one of my absolute favorite fish of all time, and probably my #1 favorite goby of all time. This is your Yasha or Yashia hyphen goby. They are one of the most beautiful showstopper, just star fish. They have beautiful red, pink, and orange colored markings on them. Super high white dorsal, little spike that also has red and orange in it. They are one of the most peaceful gobies that you can possibly own. And guess what tank he's in? If you look, he is in with the seahorses. Yasha hyphen gobies, like I said, are a very peaceful fish. They are one of the fish that you can put in with your seahorses. So that's where we decided to stick him. Yasha hyphen gobies are a carnivore, meaty foods for them, mysis, shrimp. It's going to be an excellent thing to feed them. They are beautiful. This one has made its home right in the very front, but I do encourage you, if you like fancy gobies, this one should be at the very, very top of your list. All right, guys, after months and months and months of not being able to order these for you guys, I finally have Harlequin Tusk fish back in stock. Now, Harlequin Tusks, fun fact, are actually a large-bodied wrasse. They are a wrasse, in fact. Something else that's a fun fact is that you can find these guys in 2 different parts of the wild. You can find them around the Indian Ocean, and you can find them around the coast of Australia. Third fun fact, depending on where you find these guys, they're going to have different characteristics that are going to make them look a little bit different. This one here is a true Australian Harlequin Tusk because its teeth are going to be bright cobalt blue. Might be hard to see in the video, but his teeth are bright blue. The ones that come from the Indian Ocean, their teeth are just your normal tan cream colored. Harlequin Tusks, a lot of people have them in reef tanks. They won't touch your coral whatsoever, but because it's a large-bodied wrasse, anything with the shell, any invert, clams, snails, shrimp, crabs, those guys are definitely going to eat, but a lot of people do actually have these in their reef tanks. Harlequin Tusks are a very hardy fish. They do very well, and they add so much color and personality to your tank. This is one of my favorite fish to recommend to any type of aquarium. So next is going to be this beautiful medium-sized clown trigger. It's been a while since I've gotten in a clown trigger for you guys. Clown triggers do get fairly big, around 14 inches, so a very large tank for him. He will eat your inverts 100%, absolutely. But clown triggers are one of the most popular triggerfish to have in your home aquarium based off of its beautiful coloration and high level of activity in your tank. Doesn't hide very often. These guys typically do like to hang out most of the time, so you should be able to see them 99% of the time in your tank. Clown triggers are also more of an aggressive trigger, so if you are planning on adding one of these to your tank, maybe think about adding them a little bit later. It wouldn't be one of the first ones I'd put in, and then definitely house them with other semi-aggressive to aggressive fish. That way it can't pick on any other of the smaller little more community type fish. I would recommend Fowler tank for this guy, like I mentioned, but clown triggers are absolutely beautiful. You don't see a whole lot of fish that are black with bright white polka dots, beautiful yellow colors on them, and as they mature, they actually get bright pink colored in their fins. So of course I have to show everyone some beautiful wrasses, and this is actually a Timberrasse. You might not recognize it because most Timberrasses are more of just, you know, white and orange and maybe some yellow. This Timberrasse is bright green. It also has hot pink and yellow in its fins and tail. You really don't see Timberrasses with this green color very often at all, so this is a rarity for a Timberrasse. Timberrasses are really good at eating harmful worms and things like that out of your sand, so they are a good worker for you. And they are a great reef fish as well. A lot of people like to keep Timberrasses in their reef tanks, but Timberrasses also do very well in fish-only tanks. These guys have so much personality, like most of your wrasses. They are a very hardy and durable wrasse to keep as well. Some Timberrasses can actually play nice with some other wrasses, but we do have to pick and choose those guys very carefully. But Timberrasses in general are a very, very great wrasse for any type of aquarium. So this is a super cute and super big tobacco basslet. Typically the tobacco basslets that I get in are no more than about 2 to 3 inches. This one's an extra large. This one's 6-7 inches in size. It's the biggest tobacco basslet I've ever seen, and he's not gonna get any bigger. This is a full-grown extra large tobacco basslet. These guys are super beautiful in color. Again, they are more of a Fowler type fish as they will eat some of your inverts and occasionally a really small fish if they're hungry enough and they can get a hold of it. Tobacco basslets though really aren't very aggressive in any way. They do very well in Fowler tanks with other medium to larger fish. Basslets, especially the tobaccos, are gonna do exactly what he's doing now. He found a good spot in the rock where you can still see him. He's gonna hang out. He feels very comfortable. He'll come out and swim around to eat, and then he'll go right back to his little cave where he feels comfortable. And so these guys typically don't mess with a whole lot of other fish. They pretty much keep to themselves. But they are a beautiful fish, definitely not something that everyone has in their aquarium. And you really can't get over how big this basslet is anyway. All right, everyone, this fish is kind of hard to see as he is super camouflaged in the sand, but this is a beautiful, large-sized sculpin scorpion fish. These guys are beautiful. They do act like a lionfish. He is also venomous as well. These guys have the same diet. They like to eat ghost shrimp mostly, sometimes guppies, and they can be transferred over to frozen, but it's about the same challenges you go through when you're trying to transition a lionfish over. These guys typically hang out more on the bottom. They will swim up a little bit and perch on your rocks and things like that, but their sculpins are definitely more of a bottom-dwelling fish, and they do exactly what he's doing. They'll hang out. They'll just chill. That's completely normal. If he's not just chilling like this, that means he's not comfortable. He feels very safe in this environment, so he is able to just chill. They are an ambush predator, which is one reason why these guys do just kind of chill, just like your lionfish. Your lionfish don't swim around all that often. They find a spot and they hang out because When something comes by, they will immediately start moving and jump out and grab their food. If you've ever watched a lionfish go shrimp or anything like that, that is them being an ambush predator. It's a way to keep themselves safe, and also the prey won't see them if they're camouflaged and they're just kind of hanging out. They won't think anything's there. The prey will go around and then they'll jump up out of the sand and eat them. Sculpins are absolutely beautiful. This one already has colored up very well. It's got some reds and pinks on it. Definitely not a fish that we carry all that often. So come on in and grab the sculpin while you can. So we've moved to the back room where some of my smaller fish live. This is a beautiful Blackline Benny. These are a super reef safe fish. They do very well in smaller tanks, even like your 32-gallon BioCube. These ones are absolutely beautiful. They have a super nice periwinkle color up front, and then the back half is that really nice lightish yellow-green color. They have that black line on their dorsal, and then they have that black line that runs to the middle of their eye, down their back till about halfway where that purple color stops. Blackline Bennies are typically a peaceful fish. You can keep other small fish with them as well, and they are not going to bother each other. These guys are carnivores, but they will also eat some algae and things like that, so more of an omnivore, but a carnivore diet for this guy is going to be most important. Your meaty foods, your smaller mysis and brine shrimp. These are beautiful, they are very active, and they will add a lot of personality, as most gobies and blennies do, to your tank.
So, as I've always said, March, April, those are your fish tank buying months, and we got loads of fish tanks. We have some complete setups as well. You'll see those on Facebook. They are pre-packaged price. Say that a few times real fast. No telling what could come out. But what's going to come out right now is me. I'm going to leave here, and I'll see you back here next week. God bless and have a great weekend.